the king of the Koopas!
Open the gates!
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
I do not. I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
What is this place?
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
Hello everybody, and welcome to my Mario movie review. So, I know that some of my past reviews have been pretty long, so today I'm going to try to keep this one a decently short one, in hopes of trying a new way of doing reviews here on my channel. So, let's go ahead and get started. This movie has a lot of buzz around it, and buzz is not always necessarily a good thing. There's a lot to do with Chris Pratt and his performance, voice acting performance in this movie, and more than just that, but I want to start off there. Chris Pratt is fine in this movie. Is it necessarily Mario? No. But yeah, I don't really fully know if it needs to be. To be fair, people are pushing their own views of what they want Mario to be like, which is fair in some senses and also not fair in others. It's not our movie. It's not our characters. If this is how Nintendo wants their character voiced in a more realistic manner, then I guess that's their choice. But the fans in the end are going to have the final say, of course. So, but this movie is a fun movie. It's very comedic. If you like comedy, I'm sure you'll like this movie. Now, I do have some gripes with this movie, and please, before I go into these, please be aware, these are my opinions. You have the right, and you do have differing opinions than I do, and I ask that you respect my opinions if you disagree. Okay, here we go. First off, back to Chris Pratt's voice. It's a really weird choice because there's this ad in the movie about Mario Bros. Plumbing. And that ad, that they made it, like Mario and Luigi made it in the context of the movie, they have an Italian accent in that. But they don't have an Italian accent in the rest of the movie. Neither of them do. And I find that weird. And another thing, which might be counted as spoiler. It's not counted as spoilers. It's a line from the trailer that didn't make it into the film. And it's one of the biggest lines that had buzz around it when it came to its release. And that was, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. That line never made it into the movie. That was one of the most buzzed about lines, and it didn't make it in the final product, which is fine. It doesn't have to be in the final product. But it's just a little bit upsetting. I mean, I personally was excited to see that line or hear that line. And that's not going to make or break the movie for me. But it's just something to note. And of course, things differ and change as, progress goes along in creating a movie, obviously. But still. And I apologize if you ever hear me stop. I'm regathering my thoughts because every time I record, I have all my thoughts laid out and then I can never get them said. So this movie is an Easter egg Mario fans treat, but that's just that. This movie, I can boil down before I get into too nitty gritties. A couple of things. It is, in fact, a Easter egg movie. If you are a fan of Mario and all you want is the ability to see your childhood play out on the screen, then you'll be fine. You'll like this movie. But if you want to have a story, a solid story, if you want to have a complicated story arc, you really won't have that, unfortunately. It's not something that you'll really get. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, it's a kids' movie, so I have to tailor it to kids. But there's just some things that don't work. For example, if you've seen the trailers, you know that they come from the real, I think it's New York, Brooklyn, the real world, our real world, Earth. And from there, they find a pipe somewhere and actually get into the Mushroom Kingdom. And the whole real world aspect of this is so unnecessary. It doesn't need to exist at all, as a matter of fact. Even if, nothing in this movie screams to me as I needed to have a real world side of this movie. The story would have played out the exact same if he had just lived in the Mushroom Kingdom already. But nope, not at all. It's just how it is, and apparently now they're in there. They're in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is not a huge deal. But I was hoping for more from this movie. I mean, maybe we were just spoiled with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but I was hoping for more. And this is by no means a terrible movie. There are definitely some interesting choices in this movie. The casting is not one of them, but except for Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen was just Seth Rogen. His laugh happened 3 times in the movie. It's just it's just Seth Rogen. All they wanted to do was have Seth Rogen play Seth Rogen. He doesn't even have an extreme amount of lines throughout the film. It's not terrible. It's not great. The actors that were great, Keegan-Michael Key was amazing in this movie. His performance as Toad was incredible. I could not tell it was him, and he was just extremely, extremely good. Bowser was really good. Jack Black as Bowser was really good. And Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach was really good. Their casting was not bad. Again, I did not mind Chris Pratt at all. But I'm going to be honest with you here. This movie could have been better. And here's another thing. Some of the Easter eggs, there is a section in this for everybody. I grew up on Mario Kart Wii. That was my Mario game, pretty much. The one I played the most. And there is a Mario Kart section in this movie that I was just kind of getting out at. I was excited. You could even tell from the music. I was engrossed. But even then, they made a fatal flaw in that scene. And I won't go into too much detail, but basically, everyone knows the blue shell in Mario Kart. If you pay attention, the blue shell does not operate the way it's supposed to operate in Mario Kart. If you know, it's supposed to hit the first place person. That's the whole idea behind it, is people can use it and it flies and hits the first place person. It doesn't do that. I won't give any more information, but that bugged me because I grew up on that, right? I'm sure, and again, most, like the casual viewer probably won't care. But it was really cool to see on the big screen. I mean, getting to see Mario play out. We haven't had a Nintendo movie since the original Mario movie, I believe. And it's been too long. I mean, if this movie performs well, we could be looking at Zelda movies, Kirby, any spin-off Mario movie. I would love that. Like, I would love to see Majora's Mask. Would be a great movie, in my personal opinion. It's just, they could have done so much more. This is Illumination here. Like, they made the Despicable Me movies. They made Sing. They've made, like, and I know not everyone likes Sing, but I really like Sing too. They've made high quality movies with good stories. I'm holding you to a certain standard. It's just going to be like DreamWorks, and they don't need to be fantastic, but I'm holding them to a standard. They need to perform, they need to make their movies to a certain degree. And it's just, this feels like kind of like a sly off Illumination movie. It doesn't even feel like an Illumination movie. It's just like they were like, Nintendo was like, who's a big movie company? Illumination, we're going to give you the rights here. Go ahead and make it. This is what we want. And it's just fun. I mean, if all you want to know 11 minutes in is if you're going to have a good time watching this movie, you probably are. I doubt you will have a bad time watching this movie. But if you are a Mario fan, if you're a Mario fan or you're just looking for fun, you'll like this movie. I mean, I describe this to someone this way. I don't think this movie's going to go down in history as being one of the best animated movies of all time. I do not think that this movie is going to be a movie in which people are going to reference 10 years down the line and say, hey, this movie is a pinnacle masterpiece of cinema. I feel like people will watch this every once in a while, they will add it to their catalog, and it will be there. I do not think it's going to be a noteworthy movie past its theatrical run. Does that mean it's a bad movie? No. Most movies are not notable past their theatrical run. I mean, Black Phone was a great movie, but it's died off. The popularity dies off. But Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I feel like that movie will be referenced years down the line. Just like Avatar, unfortunately, just like Avatar: The Way of Water will be referenced years after. It's, well, for its story. The CGI in that movie is fantastic. The story is lackluster, in my opinion. But it's not going to be an overwhelmingly positive thing. I think it'll have an impact on the video game adaptation genre, but I also, and like another thing with Rotten Tomatoes, I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. I don't like them. But what I will say is I do not think that the 55% at the time of their release of their critical score was necessarily inaccurate. The movie is a very enjoyable movie. The acting is really good. You're going to get nostalgia if you played the Mario games as a kid with the music. There are 2 credit scenes, and so some of this movie is hilarious. I laughed at Dungeons and Dragons more than I did this movie, but the way someone else described it to me after we watched it is, it was worth a watch. It was an enjoyable watch. It was worth a one-time watch, and that's what it's going to be for most people. Is it's going to be a one-time watch, and you will probably never watch it again. It's just how it is. I don't foresee this movie being one that people look back on and be like, this movie is the best movie that came out in 2023. We're going to have so many other movies that this movie will, in a month, in May, be overlooked and disappear into the history books. Until they announce the next movie, if there is one. And the second after credit scene isn't really an after credit scene. It's a tease, and a tease that didn't need to happen. I mean, the movie also felt like it jumped around a little bit. It felt like it was inconsistent at times because they were trying to reference so much, and that they had connecting points, of course, but you could distinctly feel like this is the Mario Maker section, this is the Mario Kart section, this is the Donkey Kong section. You could feel that in the movie. You could feel like, okay, what's the next reference going to be? What's the next reference going to be? What's the next reference going to be? Because that's what this movie is. It's a reference movie. It's for the fans. It's for the, it's for people who played Mario as a kid to give them nostalgia. Is it bad? Not necessarily. No. Is it great? No, it's not. But it's enjoyable. And you will have that nostalgia feeling in your chest. Like, the excitement. At least I had that. I don't know if everyone does. But you'll get like that feeling of, oh my goodness, this is something I grew up with. I can't believe it. And you'll be happy. And you'll leave and you'll be like, that's a good movie. I had a good time. Now on to the next one. Of course, there'll be the people who absolutely adore this movie, and full respect to you, but it's just not that movie for me. I do want to own it. I will plan on buying it. I enjoyed it that enough, but I don't know. It might be one of those movies that I pull out every once in a couple of years and watch, or I just want to own it and I'll put it on the background while I do other stuff. I don't know. But it's important if you want, like, this movie is important for video game adaptations, especially Nintendo video game adaptations. So if you want this to go forward, as I've been saying in my past couple, we need to support it. You need to go out and watch it. But I hope people focus less on Chris Pratt's voice and focus more on the actual movie itself, because that's what this is about. I find it very weird that they chose to take Mario the way that they did. I find that several things in the movie they did were weird. But that's fine. It's okay. I mean, I don't know why they feel like they have to keep it different and not just make it one for one the same. But, it's what it is. So that was a bit of an incoherent movie review, but I hopefully that gathered it. I would give this a 6 out of 10. Not a masterpiece in my opinion. Enjoyable, definitely. This is a movie that if you take your kid out to see, or if you're a Mario fan, you will enjoy. There's no doubt about that. I do not feel like you will not enjoy this movie. And I want to state this. There were a couple different sections. There was a section that reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph when they're building the cart in Wreck-It Ralph. There was a section that made me feel like that. There was a section with Bowser that made me feel like it was Trolls World Tour, which is not necessarily a good thing to compare it to. That I thought of that first, but in that movie there are dark undertones in the scenes with the head of rock in that movie, and how they had the place laid out and how the tone of the scene played out. It felt like Trolls World Tour. And unlike Puss in Boots, where when I was talking about Puss in Boots, and I don't know if I talked about it fully, that movie used its comedy to benefit the story. And that's something super important you have to do when creating a good story. This movie used its comedy to be comedic and funny, which is not bad, but it's not as impressive as a movie that can use its comedy to tell a story. Because, for example, in Puss in Boots, there is a joke that is said after Puss has his panic attack, and she says, "We've been in worse pickles," and he's like, "Where did you hear that name?" "What name?" "Nothing." That right there is a coping mechanism for Puss's anxiety and fear. As real to life as that is, it's what it is. It's a very funny joke, but it has a purpose. It serves the story in an incredibly unique way. And that, to me, is far more impressive than Bowser doing some weird thing, which, again, granted, I found hilarious, and I enjoyed it, but I want to clarify where on my ranking scale I'm having this. Basically, and I'm 20 minutes in, and this is what I need to get better at summarizing, but basically, this movie is enjoyable. If you are a Mario fan, you will enjoy. Not the best movie in the world, but I doubt people will absolutely hate it. Those are the 3 bullet points I would rank this movie under. And acting-wise, it goes Keegan-Michael Key. So, I'll do the character names. Toad, Bowser, Luigi, Princess Peach, Mario, Donkey Kong. And Seth Rogen's a good actor, and it worked fine for me. I had no problem, but like Keegan-Michael Key, you could tell it wasn't him, but it was. Like, he was the voicer, but to me, that pulled me in as Toad. For me, that was Toad. Every other actor in this movie, you could hear them in their character, which is not bad, but you could hear them. I heard Charlie Day as Luigi. I heard Chris Pratt as Mario. I heard Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, and I heard Jack Black as Bowser. I did not feel like they became their characters. Jack Black was great, don't get me wrong, but his voice stuck out like a sore thumb to me, and that's just probably because I watch a lot of his movies, so I'm used to his voice through and through. I'm just saying, for me personally, Keegan-Michael Key, fantastic voice acting in here. I honestly feel like that should be something that's considered for an Oscar, because it is such a incredible twist to his voice. I don't know if they did any after effects, because if they did, that's different. But if he did it all with his own voice, it's impressive to me. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. I recommend you go check out this movie. The Mario movie's in theaters now. If you're watching this later, it's going to be available to rent and buy on digital platforms. Probably also available on Peacock for a limited time because it is a Universal movie. So check down below. I will keep the information updated when it releases on streaming services. Well, I'm not going to say Peacock or anything, but I'll leave a link to their website. I'll leave a link to where you can buy and rent when it comes out, if I can remember, which I should. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Where am I?
Ooh, fresh meat for the grinder.
Pay him no heed. He is cute, but he is.
There's gotta be a way out of here.
There's no escape. The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Whoa! Oh, you've got to be kidding me!
My army! Koopas! Goombas! Whatever those things are!
Aw.
We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
Bowser is coming.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
We're going to save him.
Yes! Fire!
You asked for it. This is fun!